Good afternoon, YouTube. In today's video, we're going to be discussing pull-up programming. These are the methods that I have used to increase the number of pull-ups that I can do, as well as the methods that I use when I'm training new clients. But before we get into the topic of this video, if you would like to work with me as your own strength and muscle building coach, check out the link in the description where you can find my coaching services as well as apparel that all goes to support the channel so I can continue making videos just like this. And I thank you so much for your support. If you're a recent subscriber, this is a power building channel and I will give as much information as I can regarding strength training, building muscle, and just getting as strong and big as possible. That is the number one focus here. It's not so much of a six-pack abs channel. I'm not trying to do anything like that. I just want you to get big, get strong, get buff, get built, right? So let's get into the topic of the video. So pull-ups. This is a very common goal across multiple people who would train. Sorry about that. So a lot of people like to train. A lot of people like to include pull-ups into their own workouts so that they can improve their own abilities, whether it be in their sport, because it does have carryover. It's a very functional movement, whatever that means. It is something that is very relevant to certain populations. If you are in the Marine Corps, to just go to basic training, you need to do a minimum of 3 pull-ups. And to pass basic training, you need to do a minimum of 5. It's not a very competitive score, and other PT standards exist across multiple branches and other tactical capacities. But if you have a goal with calisthenics, if you are trying to incorporate something outside of just the big lifts, I do think that for full back development, for pure upper back and just, well, pure back strength, pure strength in general, one of the best movements to use as a metric is the pull-up. Being able to do more reps, being able to do reps with weight are all going to benefit you in terms of your build. So with a lot of the programs that are out there, I noticed that a lot of them, I have used so many. I've used the Armstrong pull-up program. I've done the Russian fighter pull-up program. And one thing that I found across all of them is the fact that, once you if you just take a week off from the program, you have basically regressed disproportionately than just like more traditional methods of training, right? Which is why I created this document and this PDF. So this document will be available on my website. It will be like the content itself is going to be free and it's going to be talked about here in this video. But if you would like to have a copy of this document, you can just find this on my website for $4.99. It's going to go live tomorrow night, because I do want to kind of format it a bit, make it look a bit more pretty, right? But anyway, so that will be available on my website tomorrow. So let's get actually into a lot of the methods, right? So one thing I kind of want to go over is the difference between a pull-up and a chin-up. In this video, when I say pull-up, oh damn, my dog is a genius. He just went across, like, he knows how to open doors, and he opened doors as if he pays rent or something. So you gotta stop that, man. But anyway, so I guess since you fought your way in, you can stay. But anyway, when it comes to pull-ups and chin-ups, especially in this video, I'm going to be using them interchangeably. So if I say pull-up, it applies to chin-ups. If I say pull-up, it even applies to neutral grip. When it only comes down to the kind of like more skill-based movements, like let's say archer pull-ups, commando pull-ups, those muscle-ups, those are difficult movements because of, let me deal with my dog real quick. All right, so let's get back into it. So when it comes to this video, when it comes to this PDF, whenever I say pull-up, it applies to pull-ups, chin-ups, and neutral grip. It doesn't apply to the commando. It doesn't apply to skill-based variations of pull-up, because unless you're a calisthenics athlete where you need to kind of progress in skill, technique, rather than just, reps, load, the way that most people who train kind of go about it, especially who train for strength or size, they will try to use different variations because that's how they progress in calisthenics. But when it comes to us who are just trying to get bigger, get stronger, whether you do pull-ups, whether you do chin-ups, whether you do neutral grip, doesn't really matter. You need to get stronger at them. The same thing applies, and the same methods still apply. So that's that there. So when it comes to pull-up programming, I think that there's 3 brackets, really 2, when it comes down to pull-ups, which is basically like this: can you do pull-ups or can't you? I find that a lot of the different methods that exist out there, usually they exist just to get you from ultra low reps to low reps. They get you from going to 1 to 3 to maybe 4 to 6. But Beyond that, I do think that we tend to overcomplicate pull-up training, and it's a lot more simple than it really is. Oftentimes, all you need to do is just do them more frequently. And I know that's a very unsatisfying answer, especially to those who can't do one yet, and which is why we're going to start here with it, which is pull-up programming for people who can do 0 to 3 reps. Because if you can't do more than 3 reps, I think a majority of your work should still come from elsewhere in your program, right? When it came to developing pull-ups for myself and for my clients, just doing assisted variations was not enough. I found that it is assistance movements, so band assisted, machine assisted, or even negatives can work in place of this if you don't have access to bands. But I would usually bring my own bands when I'm working with my clients. I have found that if you only do that, you can still get results, but it's not as effective if you also combine it with these other exercises. And that is the inverted row, push-ups, and machine and cable back work. So here's the thing. When it comes to the inverted row, it's a row variation that builds up very similar muscles to the pull-up because you're pulling in a very similar way. It's in a different plane, but when it comes down to the muscles being used, it's almost the exact same. And push-ups, because oftentimes, if you cannot do 0 to 3 reps of pull-ups, you just have weak upper body strength. It's not, you don't just have a weak back. It's not that you just have weak arms. You're just weak. So it kind of comes down to a point where you just need to build full body strength. This is kind of why when it comes to my power building methods, I really try to advocate for the use of kind of a wide variety of similar exercises and really progressing on each of them in an intelligent way so that your strength is just like, strength is strength. If you increase your strength on a certain movement, it's going to carry over, whether it be your barbell row to your deadlift, your pull-up to your deadlift. That's something I found, but we can talk about that in another video. Your close grip bench or dumbbell bench to your standard bench, your leg press to your squat, or something like that. If you get stronger, strength is strength. It all carries over, right? So same thing here. You just have a lacking upper body, so it will benefit you to just build up your upper body. Do some push-ups. It's going to benefit you, I promise. It doesn't really benefit, it's not like it has a direct carryover to your pull-up. I'm not going to make that argument. Like, just by doing more push-ups, are you going to suddenly be able to do a pull-up? No. But by developing kind of like that neural pathway, those being able to get your muscles to fire off more effectively because you're able to develop your muscles better, that's what's going to help you. And then, of course, you want to do direct back work. So machine work, cable work, dumbbell work, barbell rows. I have a soft place in my heart for them. That's an upcoming video on this channel where I'm going to be talking about barbell rows. But I don't think they're 100% necessary. I do recognize the limitations and weaknesses of barbell rows. But back work is always going to be necessary. You're never going to find someone who has a weakness because their back is too strong. You're just not going to find that. Having a strong back, having a big strong back, like, not only does it look nice, it just helps with everything, in my opinion. Okay, so if you are in this camp of people who can only do 0 to about 3 reps, yeah, you need to do those exercises. Now let's talk about how you actually kind of perform this in your program. There's 2 ways to go about any of these methods that I'm going to be discussing with you, and that is, do you want to do something within your current program, or do you want to do something outside of your program? So if you are going to do something within your program, that's what this information is going to be. But if you want to do something external to your program, something you can do at home, something you can do in a different session, usually what's going to kind of have it be boiled down to is something like a grease the groove kind of method, or just kind of like a mini workout. But let's talk about what happens if you just want to do this within your current program. So whether it be every day or maybe on your back day, your upper day, wherever it just makes the most amount of sense to put it in, the first thing you want to do is you want to use a band assisted, or just any kind of assisted, I prefer bands, any kind of assisted pull-up, or a negative in which you kind of jump to the top position, hold it, pause at the top, and then slowly let yourself down. Or you just do kind of like standard tempo pull-ups, like nice, slow, controlled, good form, and pause at the top, slowly let yourself down. So even if you're not doing negatives, even if you're just using assistance, you do want to have control over the rep. You want to perform at least 3 sets of this to failure. Now, this is technical failure, and maybe even that's not the right word, because it's not so much that technique breaks down. It's just kind of like, if the rep slows down, you're done. Every single rep should be quick, fast, efficient. Like, it should be no struggle whatsoever. And here's why. The moment you struggle, because you're doing such little reps, everything is basically a 1 rep max. Everything is basically a 1 rep max. And think about this. If it's a 1 rep max, being able to do multiple sets, being able to do multiple reps, it's not going to work out well for you. So that's why every single rep has to be easy, okay? And then after that, you're going to do a mechanical drop set. So after you do 3 sets, so save your strength. But after that, you're going to go down into the next exercise, which is the inverted rows. So you're going to do inverted rows and then push-ups. The more perpendicular, or no, the more parallel you are to the floor, the harder it gets. So start fairly perpendicular, kind of at like a 45-degree angle, maybe higher if you need to, like closer to 60. And then to increase the difficulty, go like lower to the floor, put your feet up onto an elevated surface, so that way you're now completely parallel to the floor, and go from there. If you do this, I promise you, you're going to get better at pull-ups really, really quickly. This is the exact method I've used with one of my clients. When he first started training with me, 0 pull-ups, 1 if he was lucky. It was really 0. But over the course of, let's say, I think it was like closer to 6 to 8 months, he went from 0 to he can now rep out 10. Now he's like 5'7", about 160 pounds, 160, 170. So being able to go from 0 to 8 to 10, really good. If you can do more than 5, that's really good. So this is the method that I used to get him there. This is the exact method that I used to get him there, right? But then here's the other thing. Perform back training on a regular basis. So for me, I do advocate the use of an upper lower just because most people tend to have busy work schedules. Most people have other responsibilities that they need to tend to. So if you do an upper lower split, you only need to commit yourself to 4 days in the gym. If you have the luxury to do more, you can do more. There's nothing wrong with a 5-day split or a 6-day split, so long as this is done intelligently, right? But when it comes to people who have other responsibilities, sometimes all you can commit is maybe 3-4 days. And if that's the case, I think back training should have a really high priority and be on every single day. The issue with, let's say, a push-pull legs or something of that nature is the fact that most of the time you're only doing back work on the pull day. That's only 2 times a week. Now, frequency is not the most important thing when it comes to building muscle, building strength, but it does help, And especially if pull-ups are our goal, then frequency definitely is of a much help. That's why so many other methods that exist out there, whether it be the Armstrong pull-up program, Russian fighter program, Grease the Groove method, all of them preach high frequency pull-ups because it works. And here's the thing, it works for strength and it works for your muscles too. Like, they do grow. Pull-ups are one of those movements where, yes, your body can recover from it very, very quickly. Just monitor the recovery of your joints though. So one thing that you can kind of do is just alternate your grip between a chin up, meaning a palms facing you grip, a palms over grip, or a pull up, and then the neutral grip where your palms face each other. Alternating between those grips has really alleviated some elbow issues for me. So that's kind of how I go about it, right? And then the last part here, improve your ability to do push-ups. Quite honestly, like, it builds up your upper body strength, because if you can't do 0 to 3 pull-ups, what you need is just strength. What you need is just coordination. What you need is just training. So that's really what I recommend there. Now, let's say you kind of want to do something outside of your program, like a mini workout. I find that, the Grease the Groove method is a very popular one. I don't think I need to like include that really, because, you can find like 50 articles, probably more than that, closer to 50,000 articles talking about the Grease the Groove method. But like I said, it gets you from ultra low reps to low reps. What I would actually recommend is just kind of like a condensed version of that first part, where let's say you do 3 sets of standard pull-ups, rest only about maybe 1.5 to 2 minutes at most, maybe a minute to 2 minutes at most, right? Perform as many as you can easily, and then just hang for 30 to 60 seconds. So just do a dead hang, a passive hang from the bar for 30 to 60 seconds. It is an isometric contraction. So whether it be, so you can kind of like, and progress by, doing active hangs. So start at a dead hang where you just kind of build up that grip. Once your grip is built up, go into a active hang where you're kind of squeezing your scapula and everything like that. So that way your back musculature actually activates and everything, and then go from there, right? Do 3 sets of that. Then you're going to do 3 sets of band assist. So let's see. So 3 sets of standard, so meaning like or negatives, so no assistance, right? Then you're going to do 3 sets of assistance, so with a band, or some other assistance method that you can use, whether it be like putting your foot on a chair and then kind of like using your legs to help you get up. That's a method I used when I was first starting to lose weight and first starting to train, where I would just grab my desk chair, put it right in front of my pull-up bar, and then like, you know, when I needed it, I would use a little bit of leg drive, like pushing on the chair to get up, right? So use whatever assistance method you have available, do 3 sets of that. And then you'll do 4 sets of inverted rows, push-ups to failure. All of this should be done within the span of 10 to 15 minutes or 12 to 15 minutes. So it should not take long. Just do like I said, it should be just a mini session. Get in, get out, get done, right? Then let's kind of like talk about greasing the groove. So it is a time tested method, but like I said, the reason why it gets you from low reps to ultra low reps or ultra low reps to low reps is because at this stage, you lifting your body weight is a 1 rep max. So, you know, you have to give yourself time between each time you can do that to do it. But because it's just your body weight, it's not nearly as much as, let's say, if I were to deadlift 500 pounds. It's not the same. But you still need to be able to give that time so that way you can repeat that effort, which is usually something like, you know, every time I walk through this door, I'm gonna do a pull-up. At the top of every hour, I'm gonna do a pull-up. So this is kind of a method, like I said, it gets you from doing 1 to maybe 5, right? It's not a method that I feel like you can like use very regularly, especially when it requires you to be uber consistent, like super consistent, right? So that's kind of like why I prefer lower frequencies of training in the grand scheme of things, whether it be like, let's say, well, comparatively to like the 6 days a week, right? I prefer a 4-day-a-week split because it's easier for people to be 100% consistent. I'd rather have someone be 100% consistent on 4-day split than to commit to a 6-day split but only do 4 days, because that means you now have 2 days of work that you just skipped, that you just missed, right? I'd rather have you commit to just a lesser amount. Okay, so that's kind of the way of going about it for 0 to 3 reps. Now, if you're in that 4 to 8 rep range, congratulations, you can now just train regularly. You can just kind of like, you know, try to get +1s, just do basic linear progressions, you know, try to get 1 more rep each time. Just kind of have that attitude, that mindset of trying to increase your performance. That's all you really need to do. You don't really need to, like, you need, like, people think that you need to complicate things beyond that. You really don't. If you have a mind for progression, progress will occur, especially with these movements, because we like to, because we have gone into this kind of stage era or whatever you want to call it, where we think we need to periodize everything if we're going to progress in anything. That's not the case. Sometimes, like, the way I look at it is sometimes you need to train like Rocky, right? Where it's all heart. It doesn't, like, there's no science behind it. It's just eye of the tiger. It's just gonna fly now. It's just gonna be all of that, right? You have an old man yelling at you. He's calling you a bum, and then, but he's at the same time is telling you that he loves you. It's weird, but you love it. You accept it. It's in your heart, and you just gotta push yourself, right? Other times, you need to train like Drago, where things are measured, where things are kind of like taken, like, you know, like a really scientific approach. Now, let's get rid of the steroid thing, because, like, you know, that's just kind of show that he's evil and cheating, right? But in the movie at least. But when it comes to training, you kind of need to be able to approach it from both ways. You need passion and progress the same way that you need periodization and planning. Both of them are important, but at the same time, it's up to you to decide when they're important. And I promise you, passion and progression is what is going to build up your pull-ups. Try saying that 3 times fast. So here, you can really just train regularly. Something that I kind of recommend, and this is something that I've done personally that has helped, and this is something that I did when I was in the army, especially. But what I would do, I would just set a timer, right? 10 minutes at the start of every workout. And day 1 of my 4-day split, so day 1, 5 sets of 3. Then day 2 would be 5 sets of 4. Day 3 of my program would be 5 sets. Am I counting wrong? So 5 sets of 3, 5 sets of 4 on day 2. Then day 3, 5 sets of 5. And then on day 6, either I do a 5x6 or day 4. I mean, day 4 I do a 5x6, and then or 1 second, or not and. or I would just do one set for as many reps as possible. So that's kind of what I outline here. So for the first session of the day or of the week, I would do 5x3. Second session of the week, 5x4. Third session of the week, 5x5. And then on that fourth session, I either do a 5x6 or one set to failure. Now here's kind of like why I would kind of structure it this way. Here's the thing. Here's why there's a timer. Session 1, I'm hitting that. I'm hitting that easy. Session 2, I'm probably going to hit that. Might be a little bit more of a struggle, at least during that time, right? Session 3, a 5x5 for pull-ups. Like, I'm 250 pounds. So, you know, like that's kind of hard for me, quite honestly, because I do full range of motion pull-ups or full range of motion for the purpose of bodybuilding. And after that point, right? So when it comes to the 5x6, that's when I kind of struggle. But here's the thing. I need to do a total of 25 or 30 pull-ups. I have 10 minutes. Meaning, in that 10 minutes, as long as I do a total of 25 or 30 reps, I'm good. I'm golden. Now, let's say, for example, at that 10-minute mark, I'm 24 reps in, whether it be the 25 or the 30, I just stop. I don't need to do anything. I already did pull-ups for 10 minutes straight. I'm good. So that's kind of why I go about there. The reason why I did include the one set to failure, though, is because of this. Let's say your deadlift day is on the last session of the week. I would rather not have done 5 sets of 6 right before I'm about to deadlift. So you can kind of invert this. So let's say your deadlift is on the first day of the week. Because me personally, I would either put it at the first day of the week or the last day of your training week. So you start out with one set to failure and then go into the 5x3, 5x4, 5x5. Or you do it at the end of the week and run through that progression in reverse. That's one method, right? Other ways of going about it is just treat it like a regular exercise in your program. 3 sets for as many reps as possible. 4 sets for as many reps as possible. You don't need to complicate it beyond that. Just get better. Just do more. That's it. Like, I don't know if any of you have ever played a Dark Souls game, but there's a certain point in time where like the advice of just get good applies. Just get good, right? Now, when it comes to an external program at this stage, I will say I have found significantly more success from the Russian fighter pull-up program than I have from the Armstrong pull-up program. Because the Armstrong pull-up program, a lot of it is kind of like more Rocky based, where it's just like, it's mindset, bro. It's literally just pushing every single set, doing as many as you can, going as hard as you possibly can, you know what I mean? So, like, there's that. When it comes to the Russian fighter pull-up program, the reason why I think it actually benefits most people better is because you're going to be sandbagging for at least 3 sets. Like, maybe this week will get a bit harder, but generally speaking, like, for at least 3 sets, you're sandbagging, meaning you're recovering, but you're still getting increasingly more reps each time. So this is my modification to the Russian fighter pull-up program. So the Russian fighter pull-up program, week 1 has you doing 5 sets, first set of 5, second set of 4, third set of 3, fourth set of 2, and then the 5th set will be just 1 rep. And then he has you adding 1 rep each week. So eventually you get to a point where it's just like you add 1 rep per set each week. I have found that if you're a bit more impatient, like I was, you can kind of go in a way where it's just like add a rep on the last 2 sets. So that's a 2-week process. And on the 3rd week, add 1 rep on the first set. So that's kind of what I have outlined here. I found that worked just as well, quite honestly. I tried it out on myself, tried it out on a friend of mine and a couple of friends of mine, and it's like they were very similar results. Whether you did it like the way that I just outlined or the way that Pavel had it outlined, works the exact same way. Now, when it comes to if you can do more than 10, congratulations, you are stronger than most people in the world. Just being able to move your body weight, right? Here, this is kind of where you should start adding load. So what I kind of recommend here is that let's say you have 5 sets of pull-ups, 2 of them or 3 of them should have you be doing weight. Or you can even go into 6 sets where you do 3 sets of weight, 3 sets without it. And then you can kind of go from there. So that's one option. Other options are just going to failure. Like if you do have a goal of getting to 20 plus reps, oftentimes it's just going to be regularly going to failure. Your body will be able to handle it. I also recommend doing things like DUP. I think DUP is overrated when it comes to barbell training. But when it comes to pull-ups, I think it's actually very viable. One day you do maybe some max effort body weight stuff. Another day you kind of go with, let's say you can do 10 pull-ups, right? On your Second day, I just want you to do 5 pull-ups, and I want you to do as many sets of 5 as you can with only a minute of rest in between. See how many rounds you can get, right? Something like that. Then on the last day, you do like some heavy, like weighted pull-ups. So that's kind of how I would go about it if you are in with that 10 plus, because like I said, there's really only 2 camps when it comes to pull-ups. You can do it or you can't. If you can't do it, you got to build up your back. You got to build up the ability. If you can do it, you just got to keep doing it. So that's kind of a oversimplified way of looking at things, but sometimes we need to bring that back. Sometimes we overcomplicate our training unnecessarily, and we keep thinking that there's a magic program out there in which progression handles itself. There isn't. You need to progress. You need to push yourself. You need to work hard. These are just methods, just vehicles that allow you to point your effort in the right direction. That's all this is. That's all programming is. But anyway, that's it for this video. If you found it useful, please like, comment, and subscribe. Like I mentioned, this PDF, this ebook will be available on my website for $4.99 after this weekend. And other than that, have a great day. Peace.